Did you see all the thoughts? It's a lot of thoughts, no? Could you see the difference between thoughts and non-thoughts? I'll take that as a no.
See the difference between thoughts and images and emotions and...
Yeah, or just experience that's not thought. Like this isn't a thought, it's an actual sensation or an experience. As opposed to a thought about something, you know, about...
There's usually still a thought back there somewhere rolling around even when I'm experiencing the body or a sensation or something.
Yeah, he's saying, can you hear me saying that there's still a thought kind of rolling around in there? Yeah, actually my experience is that they don't stop that much. I mean, you can get really concentrated while they kind of subside, but my experience is it's much more a question of how much we pay attention to them, how much we focus on them. And that at any given moment there's a lot of different kind of experience happening. Thought being kind of one layer. It's like in this room, if you like, there's lots of different objects, you know, and different things, and you can look at different things and you could focus on them. And when you do that, like everything else sort of disappears. No, not quite disappears, but it fades away, right? You're like, well, I'm really looking at that thing. And so you can see that our awareness, it sort of picks, it chooses, like you can choose, I mean, whether it's conscious or not, but it chooses what to focus on. Does that make sense? And so I can look at this thing or that thing, or... And the kind of default human experience is pretty fixated on thought. That's kind of the bulk of our experience. And it's a very, you know, the Buddha said that with the mind we create the world. Meaning that our reality is sort of constructed of our thoughts. And that we can never really know the truth on a thought level. Because thought is always removed from what's really happening. It's like it's a commentary about it. You know, it's not just what it is. You know, like I always like to mention how when the Buddha was enlightened, became the Buddha, they would say he saw reality as it is. And take care, man. Right, meaning that he no longer experienced what he thought about reality, but just actually reality as it is. And when we watch our thoughts, you see that there's just a ton of commentary about, you know, this, and I like this, I don't like this, you know. And it's quite consuming, isn't it? You know that when people say consumed by thought, that phrase? Has anyone ever experienced that? Anyone ever been consumed by thought? I'm curious, did anyone experience any gaps during the meditation? Like even if it's very brief, or you kind of get a little space from it. Yeah.
Space in between the thoughts.
Space in between the thoughts. So what psychologically, what they refer to, the way kind of what it's like for most people, is they call it being overly identified with our thoughts. So it's not, the problem isn't that there's just thoughts, but that we identify with them. We even say, like, I'm thinking this, right? Like, I'm thinking this, I'm thinking that. And it's funny because that's how we say it in the English language, but it's actually inaccurate. It's an inaccurate statement. Because if you were really just thinking them volitionally, you could stop thinking them. Right? If it was really like that, we're like, well, I'm thinking this. It's like, okay, well, don't do that. And it's not quite so simple, right? What's much more of an accurate description is that there are thoughts happening, and we are paying attention to them, and we are listening to every one of them. And they seem so important, right? Like we love our thoughts, don't we? Sometimes. It's a love-hate relationship at best, right? But they're almost like, I don't know, even if we hate them, it's like, but we're pretty compelled by them. I think one of the things that's most confusing, I'll get in a second, is it sounds like you, right? Didn't it sound like you talking? It sounds like your voice, right? A lot of times. So that's, I think, part of what makes it go, well, yeah, I'm thinking that, like I'm... And so when we sit, we actually watch the thoughts, and we kind of see them, but by observing them, we actually create space between us and them. You see what I mean? Because if I can see it, then I'm sort of not it. You know, I mean, most of the time it's like I don't see it, I'm in it. You know? It's like I can't see my own eyes. I can't see my face. Like I'm in it. But then you get some space. And once you can go, oh, hey, look at those thoughts. It's like, wow, so then you're not those thoughts. If I can point to it and see it, as Ajahn Sumedha says, he says, then it's an object to me. Like, it's an object I can see. Like, he has this funny talk where I guess there was a rug there too. And he's like I know I'm not this rug because I can see it. You know, like it's an object to me. And so that's why we just observe them. We don't, you don't have to fight them, but the more you see them, and the more that the more the observer entity grows, where you can see the thoughts as an object. What's really quite beautiful about it is you start seeing like parts of your experience that aren't thought. Right? It's like I can see the carpet really clearly, and part of that is then I can see what's not the carpet. Like if it was just everywhere, it's like they say that phrase, like water to a fish, air to a bird. It's like, fish is just in the water. Maybe that's why they hop out sometimes. You had a hand up back there? Yeah.
Planning or whatever, it's like I start really complicating it, but if I let myself sort of go down the road of the thought for a little bit longer, it settles more easily by itself.
What was the last part?
If I let myself sort of go down the road
Uh-huh.
You know, and I think you just sort of answered it, really what you just said.
Yeah.
It becomes an object, but if it's too soon, like, oh, there's a thought,
Yeah.
go over there, it just all gets really way more wound up.
Right.
Makes sense?
Yeah. I think what ends up being important is that as we watch our thoughts, I think what you're speaking to is, although you didn't say it, it's like, it's a level of calmness or equanimity as you watch them.
Well, and that's, I guess my question is that like sort of bad, lazy practice to just let yourself go down the rabbit hole for a second?
No, it's. I don't think it is if it's for a second.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that's the thing about rabbit holes is
Right.
they don't, you know, they call them rabbit holes because they don't just last a second.
Yeah.
But I think what you're describing is a kind of non-reactivity to the thoughts, where you can kind of see them. It's not like, oh my God, they're thoughts.
Yeah.
I got to get rid of these thoughts, or oh my God, I got to not get attached to these thoughts. And it's, you know, because then that actually just creates a whole bunch of more thoughts, right? So it's just like, I think there's a real kind of unfortunate misconception in that in Buddhist practice, a lot of times like thoughts get a really bad name. Like thoughts are seen as this enemy and you've got to like either stop your thoughts or not get lost in thought. And that kind of makes it all the more reactive, you know? I think it's much more helpful to just calmly admit. Let's all just admit. We have thoughts. Lots and lots of thoughts. You have them, I have them, the people next to you have them. So we can stop freaking out about them and being kind of like shocked or embarrassed that as Buddhists we have thoughts. There's just a lot of thoughts. But when you can look at it like that with some humility, like, yeah, of course I got thoughts, then you can actually look at them, you can see them, you don't have to be afraid of them, you don't have to, it doesn't have to be this like big deal. It's just like, I don't know, there's this rug here, and I'm just watching like, what's it like for me to look at it? And it's kind of calm, like I can observe it. For one thing, I'm not afraid of it. I can proudly say I'm not afraid of this rug. So see, practice has its benefits. But like it's just there, and I'm kind of free to just check it out. Just kind of be curious, like, oh, that's a cool little design. And you know what I mean? Like I'm observing. That's what we call observing, right? And then we say, in our practice, we say, well, let's observe the mind or observe our thoughts. But you find that a lot of times it's not that calm, it's not that equanimous, right? It's much more like, oh, these thoughts. Oh, I got to get, you know, like, oh, these thoughts again, and why do I have so many thoughts? Like, it's this whole like contentious relationship, no? Do you guys find that?
Yeah.
And that makes it very hard to actually just observe them. You know, observing is just observing. Like, fighting is something else, right? If I was like, oh, this fucking rug. Like, I gotta, let me really look at it. It's like I'd miss it. I wouldn't get it. I'd be pretty distracted. Because we want to actually get to know them. You want to get to a point where it's just like, oh yeah, that thought. Like I remember, especially on long retreats, you just have them like, they call them like, I don't know if Jack Kornfield made up this phrase or not, but he says it a lot. He calls it the top 10 tunes. If you sit for a while, you just kind of watch like the top 10 thoughts, you know? And he's like, oh, yeah, there's that one again. Oh yeah, and that one. And they cycle through a lot, right? It's just like a top 10 like radio stations just playing the same hits over and over and over. And part of what happens if you just watch them, there's this beautiful thing that can happen where you just get bored of them. It's like it's a really sweet thing where you're just like, Yeah, that thought again. I don't care. And then you can get interested in something. When you see the repetitive nature of them, and the kind of, just a certain like pedestrian quality to them that you can then get to a point where you're like, well, wait, what else is here? I got it. There's a lot of thoughts. Clear on that. What else is happening? So what else is happening? What do you notice? Yeah.
I noticed that the moments that I have between the thoughts are usually when I'm having a really strong observation of physical sensation in the body.
Physical sensation in the body.
Yeah, and so, and of course for me this said, you know, I was feeling a little bit of difficulty getting relaxed in the throat, chest area, and so I was, oh, that's interesting, it was a big feeling. And then that became kind of like this fortress that was really dark and smoky with fire in it, became an image. And then I was thinking about that. And then I could let that go and go back to trying to find the sensation again. So I was kind of having all this storyline around this sensation that would, you know, distract me. And so I think I'm not thinking when I'm having this sensation experience. You know?
Mm-hmm.
So coming back to breathing or monitoring the body is usually where I kind of go to, and then it might lead to just sort of like a moment of almost like nothingness, which sometimes is sleep.
Mm-hmm.
That's what happened today.
Yeah, nice.
I've really been grooving on the earth elements. Like I really started to know, like, you know, I can feel the solidness of like the heat in my feet, whatever, the fluid movement, whatever, and like just those real subtle like earth elements. Like I've been really,
Nice.
you know, getting more concentrated with it, like really noticing the textures of them. Like there is those textures, and
Right.
they kind of, you know, resemble those elements.
Yeah. Could you all hear him? He was talking about the earth element. You know, there's practice where we practice with the four elements, and there you mentioned the earth element, which is really just like solidity. All the solidity you can feel, the heat, what you're resting on, or just the solidity of the body. And he was just saying he's been grooving on that, just kind of like it's like the attention shifts to that experience of solidity. And he's been finding it enjoyable.
Yeah, it's pleasurable. I mean, like when you said, you know, find something pleasurable, like yeah, just the solidness of the weight of and the solidness of my hands, and then the fire element, the heat, you know, between my hands and my thighs was like pleasurable.
Yeah.
Nice.
And finding the pleasure in that solidity. Anybody else?
I find a lot more delight in little things that I wouldn't have normally noticed. Like you hear a dog barking outside, or you know, just
Right.
passing sounds that normally I wouldn't notice at all. I'm like, oh, that's cute.
Right. So it's finding delight in these little simple things that normally you wouldn't notice. One doesn't notice when one's caught up in all these thoughts. Someone back there had a hand?
I find that this happens to me all the time. I get really consumed about thoughts about work.
Thoughts about work?
Yeah, and in fact, I thought I had a really good idea.
You what?
I thought I had a really good idea.
Yeah.
I think about myself, I was in my head somewhere.
Yeah.
And then I got away from that, and I thought, maybe that's not such a good idea.
Yeah.
Having somebody else do something I think they should do, and that's probably not going to work.
Right. Ever thought that I wish you could like get paid extra at work if you could tell them how, like if there's a way to log in how much I've thought about it. Like, dude, I laid in bed thinking about this crap for like 2 hours last night. Can I get some overtime for that?
You're extra trippy tonight.
What's that?
You're extra trippy and deep tonight.
Yeah.
I'm digging it. I'm spinning off, so.
Extra trippy. Hold on to your hat. I'm about to get
All
trippier.
right, good. Well,
Here it comes.
I'll spin off, but.
All right.
You and Vinny both talk, like, look at the room and go, well, there's all these things in the room, but there's also all the space, like, that we don't see.
Yeah.
And I think, like, talk about the objects of the mind. And I trip on this, like, we don't see an object until light hits it,
Yeah.
you know? But the light is a constant. Right?
Mhm.
There's always light. That's how we know that there's something. And wasn't there a sutta, in the sutta, the Buddha was talking about light coming through a window and hitting the wall on the other side of the room, right? And that was like the object of the mind, like there's light, you know, but we don't really know there's light until it hits something.
Mm-hmm.
So like you're saying, like there's thought, like everybody just admit that you have these objects of the mind, and that's like knowing that the mind is working, that it plans on things, you know, and we can kind of see things get illuminated, you know?
Yeah, I mean, a way to look at this practice in many ways is that it's kind of about this process of making the unconscious conscious. You know, we're going through life, and there's all this stuff happening. There's all these mechanisms, and most people, like, you don't really notice that. It's just doing its thing, and you're being run by it. You're being driven by these forces that are unconscious. And this practice is really about stopping and just studying, like, hey, what is happening right now? Like, what is going on? Like, what is this reality? What is this mind? Right? And as we start to look at it and study it and just pay attention to it, making like the actual experience of living, of being, the object of meditation. And so we just notice, oh yeah, there's thoughts, there's feelings, emotions, sensations. And we start watching like what causes them, like the patterns, and you know, as we see it, we start to see through the illusion. We start to see the patterns. We start to see the ways we get caught. We start to see like what are the building blocks of reality. And tonight, you know, we're focusing on thoughts specifically. And what I find with thoughts, for me, that's been kind of maybe the most liberating, is realizing that what's really going on is that in this moment, and really in every moment, I actually don't know what's going to happen. I don't really know. I have all these thoughts that pretend to know, and they're all these like ideas and constructs. But they're sort of all based on this like, oh yeah, no, I know that. Oh yeah, I get that. Oh that, yeah, that's that, right. Oh, that's that thing, yeah. And it's like, or my mind's trying to figure it out. And what we're really sitting in, what we're really experiencing, is something that in the spiritual world we often refer to as mystery. And that this experience of life, like right now in this moment, is incredibly mysterious. You know? Like, what the fuck is this? And there's this other level where we don't actually know what's going to happen. Like, trip on this right now. You want to get trippy? Like, right now, like, you have no idea what's going to happen next. Like, you didn't know I was going to do that. I didn't even know I was going to do that. Like, if we listen, We don't know what sound is going to arise next. We don't know what we're going to feel next or experience. We're really like on this, we're riding this wave of experience that's unfolding. We don't really know where it came from. We don't know where we're going. We don't know why we're here. We just mostly don't know. And the trippy part is that it's actually a beautiful thing. Our minds don't like it so much. And we, like in our culture, don't like it so much. We really value knowing. Right? And it's too bad because it sort of like forces us to create falsehoods that make us feel like we know, but we just make shit up, really. It's funny because the things we think now, like as adults, they seem kind of legit, right? But I remember being a little kid, and I thought just as much, and I really didn't know shit. Like, you know what the funniest thing is to listen to? And I've participated in this, but I've since heard it too, is little boys talking about sex. It's hilarious. Y'all feel it. I don't know what girls do, but the men in the room, y'all remember? Like, I remember like hanging out with my friends in the playground, and like none of us had had sex, like not even close. But we would like talk about it with so much authority and argue like, no, that's not how you do it like this. And it's just like, I find it funny to think about that because I just remember like none of us would go, yeah, I just don't know. It's kind of a mystery. I've never done it. I don't really know. Like, no one said that. Like, everyone had some strong opinions. And it's funny because it's like, it's just the mind's impulse to take that position of knowing. Like, no, I know.
But what's worse is later on in life, the little boy's still alive and says whatever else is here.
Yeah.
And you've had some experience, maybe plenty of experience with sex, and you may be having a conversation about it, and you just suddenly might have the luck to notice that, like, actually, you still don't. I mean, that's...
It's true. You still don't know. Well, and the thing about it is I use that example because it's just, like, sort of so obvious and funny. Did we get louder or something? But yeah, because it's still going on. And what the fuck am I doing up here? Like, I don't know what's going on.
There's no up here.
But why is that doing that now? See, I don't even know that. What's that? Bring it down? I got excited, started talking about sex. The volume went up.
It's like I think when we get passionate about something, we actually use more of our diaphragms.
Right.
More input's coming in.
Exactly. That's what she said. All right. No discipline whatsoever. All these years of practice, no restraint. So, what's that? I don't know why. Anyways, we're not comfortable with the mystery. We're not comfortable sitting in the not knowing and just sitting with it, just being like, no, that's fine. I don't need to know. Like, I just don't know. Actually, I had a girlfriend years ago that really changed my life with this one statement. She said to me, you're always trying to figure out the mystery. you're trying to solve the mystery. She said, but you know, it's not meant to be solved. It's just meant to be enjoyed. And she was right. I mean, I remember when she said it, it really hit me. Because I didn't realize it, but I was always trying to figure it out. And most of the thoughts were that kind. It was like, I'm trying to figure it out, I'm trying to figure it out, I'm trying to figure it out. And I remember this line coming to me in a meditation once, where it said, you know, life's not a riddle, it's a joke.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing to figure out, you just get it. It's like a joke, it's funny, you know, or whatever it is. But it's not a puzzle, it's not something to figure out. But when we're presented with something we don't know, when it's a mystery, that's often the response, is to try to figure it out, to try to solve it, to try to get a grasp on it. And so the predicament, if you will, that we're in is that we're trying to apprehend with the mind, with this like thinking, deductive, discursive, reasoning thought process. We're trying to figure out something that can't be figured out with the mind. Your mind will never figure it out. Never. It'll just go round and round and round and round in circles because it's the wrong. It's like it's the wrong tool for the job. You see what I mean? It's like, I don't know, it's like if you were trying to smell music or something, you know? Or trying to like listen to a sandwich.
In the proper headspace you could.
What's that?
In the proper headspace you could.
But imagine that if you came in, I was like, fuck man, I'm really trying to listen to this sandwich. And you know, you'd be like, dude, like you don't listen to it, you eat it. It's the wrong thing. And so when faced with this infinite mystery, which is life, we try to figure it out. We're uncomfortable with it. And I suggest to you that you're better off, or we're better off, just kind of beholding the mystery, just being in awe of it, being humbled by it, and just experiencing it. The way, I don't know, the way you do a sunset or a beautiful piece of music or what, you know what I mean? You don't sit there trying to figure out the sunset. Right? It's like there's nothing to figure out. It's just beautiful. You just enjoy it. And so sitting here right now, just notice like really, like how much we don't know. I don't even know, like what, I really don't know. But it's okay. I feel like there's this way that our, I don't know if it's our education system or just our minds, but there's a kind of like shame in not knowing. There's this, almost this feeling, well, maybe everybody else knows, and I don't know. And there's a kind of like pretense of knowing. Do you notice that? Like, I don't know why. Like, I think about it all the time, especially when I was young. If someone like asks you something and you don't know, like, do you remember, like, especially when you're younger? I don't know, like, I think there were so many times where if I was honest, I would have said, oh, I don't know. But it's like, no, I start like making up some bullshit, or like, oh, yeah, I know that. It's, and it's like, why? Why is it so hard just to be like, I have no idea?
You ever seen Fast Times at Ridgemont High?
Yes, I have.
Remember Jess Spagoli? I don't know. And you're right writes it up on the board.
Oh.
The man puts it on the board. And he's like, I'm going to give you full credit, Mr. Spigoli. And he's like, right on.
Exactly.
What I'm trying to figure out is how can I reduce the amount of thoughts that I have every day. I think there is an average of 60,000 thoughts that a human being has a day.
Mm-hmm.
I want to bring it to 50,000 maybe.
Mm.
If there is any suggestions. I know not latching into thoughts is one of them.
What's that? What was that?
Not latching.
Not
into
latching
thoughts,
to the thoughts, uh-huh.
or maybe observing,
Mhm.
or dissipating the thoughts.
Yeah.
Like you were saying earlier. Meditating, I think can help. But is there any other suggestions to reduce
Yeah.
thoughts?
I mean, it's what we've been saying, like learning to, because see, the issue isn't getting rid of them or not. The issue is paying attention to them or not. I think it's an analogy I often use in this group is like, you know that experience when you're somewhere and the TV's on, but you're not watching it? And it's there and you can hear it, you know it's there, but you're not paying attention to it. You're not consumed by it. And so you don't care, something's on, I don't know. Something about Donald Trump probably, it's on there. But you're doing something else and you don't really care. So that's what I'm trying to say is I don't think it's actually useful to try to say, well, I'm going for 60,000 to 50,000. But more like, it's like, well, how many of those thoughts are you engrossed in? And Ajahn Chah, the father of this lineage, he used to use this analogy of like, that the more you pay attention to them, the more you're interested in them, it's like you're feeding them. And he says if you kind of don't pay attention to them and don't give them that attention, that interest, he says it's like, the analogy is it's like a cat. He's like, if you have a cat that comes around, like in Thailand, there's a lot of stray cats. And if you feed it, if you like leave food out, they'll come, right? And he says if you want the cat to stop coming, you stop feeding it. But he says, if you do that, it won't stop right away. Like it'll still come for a while. Like you'll stop giving it food, but it'll keep coming. And he's like, you have to be really patient and like really allow it to keep coming and not feeding it. And eventually it'll get tired of that. Eventually it'll stop. And it'll still show up, but like more rarely. And eventually it'll be like, all right, forget this dude. He's not going to feed me. But he said that's the thing. He's like, so when you kind of say, okay, I'm not going there. I'm not going to really pay attention to this. He said you have to really be patient and wait because there'll be this period where they will actually, meow louder. Like they'll do more stuff to get your attention. They'll actually get wilder. I know on retreats, I mean, for those of you who sat long retreats, have you ever noticed like the thoughts actually get wilder? Like they get like more vivid and more crazy and more interesting and like they get more seductive. And you have to, it's like, it really takes this practice of just like, nope. But I find that it's more useful to like focus on something else. It's very hard to like not do something. It's more like, well, you actually do something else. So that's why we shift our awareness to the breath or to the body or something else other than the thoughts. Because by default, we're all just paying attention to thoughts, mostly. That's kind of the default meditation practice that the whole world's in, right? Like, they don't call it that, but they're like, yeah, I just listen to my thoughts all day long. And so what we're doing is saying, well, what if I put my attention somewhere else, on something else? So that's my suggestion. Yeah.
I'm calling about mystery, and I'm glad that he mentioned about like really creating more thought. But I look at mystery as something of like a resource instead of trying to always quantify it or qualify it. I just look at it as something that I can tap into. That way my moment of surrender is like actually like there. And then what you were just saying about, instead of the thought, feeding the thought, like actually that moment of paying attention to something, that's when like creativity really kind of taps in and really manifests itself in front of me instead of just observing. Creating actually comes into play.
Yeah.
That's the mystery. It becomes that conundrum that solves itself.
Exactly. Yeah, it's very well put. When we can sort of be with the mystery or surrender to the mystery, one of the beauties of that is the mystery will offer up things you could never think of. One of the problems with being lost in our own thoughts is it's very limited. It's a reality that's only limited by what I can think of, what this very limited mind can come up with. I've only got so many. I gotta say, I'm thinking a lot of the same shit. I'm on a lot of reruns. It's a lot of reruns. Like I'm 46 now, like I've thought most of the things already. You know? I'm sorry, we gotta end. We're out of time. I gotta end at some point. So one thing I will leave you with is when you're exploring the mystery and allowing it, don't get distracted by your thoughts about it. There's something much, much, much richer in it than what you can think of. And like the Buddha, you can one day see reality as it really is. So we're out of time. Is there announcements? I guess.
A few brief announcements. There's several different day-longs that are coming up. I'm going to go through them in chronological order. May 13th, Feeding Your Demons with Chandra Easton. Little Tibetan practice, visualization, that kind of stuff. It's very interesting. Then there's going to be a half-day retreat on mindfulness for people of color. So there's a POC half-day retreat on May 20th. That's Saturday, May 20th. That's going to be from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Also later that same day on May 20th, there's Feeding Your Hungry Ghosts, which is different than Feeding Your Demons. Feeding Your Hungry Ghosts, this woman's going to talk about emotional eating and Buddhist practice. I'm really bummed that I'm not going to be here. I'd love to check that out. That's going to be from 3 o'clock in the afternoon till 5. It's a short little deal. Then there's a day-long retreat with Cheryl Sleen, Saturday, June 3rd, 9:30 till 1. And this is about just daily stress and how to understand that. And then finally, there's a day-long retreat with Scott Tusa on the 25th about identity, the idea of anatta, no self, and our identity. Finally, we keep the lights on, we keep the doors open only through your generosity. So there'll be a basket on the desk that you can drop some money in. I don't have any embarrassment about asking for money for this place. I think the work we do here is really super important. And to enable us to be able to do that work, all of us, we need to keep the lights on and the doors open, rent paid, stuff like that. Thanks, you guys.
Yeah, thank you. And we really appreciate your generosity, and it's really no small thing. I mean, just trip on that for a second. Like, this whole place is literally run on that. It runs on generosity. That is how we pull in the money to pay the rent and keep the lights on and all these good things. So, that in mind, let's just bring your attention back to your body. And just for a few seconds, just allow the mystery And just give yourself the gift of not knowing. May the merit generated by us coming together like this as a community, as a Sangha, to, as Vinny would say, to compare hallucinations. And to just look at our minds and look at this reality we live in, to look at these building blocks, to look at these constructs. And then to see past them and to see the mysterious nature of this reality beyond all the ideas and the thoughts and theories and stories. And support each other in allowing ourselves to be humbled by the mystery. And to experience the beauty of not knowing. And we dedicate and share this merit with beings everywhere. May we all be free. Thank you very much.